Can you speak?
Yes, I can speak.
Oh, there we go.
This
In
is
my
what
ear.
happens when you wash your hair and put hairspray on it because you're trying to do a good thing by going out, and then you have a rainstorm, and Rosanna Dana's hair comes back.
I thought you were trying to look cute for me.
No, this is what the weather does in humidity in the South.
Smooth it down a bit.
It can't. Like I flat ironed this. Like it's like you want me to put a hat on?
And she is back, the one, the only Stephanie Breaux Bradley. We're all over the place talking fitness trade shows, client experiences, and the Gen Z demographic. Some technical issues in this. I tried some new software, and I got to be honest, I had some struggles. It was either put this out now or it doesn't get out there. So a few blips in this episode, but you'll get the gist of it. Enjoy. Welcome to another episode of Yoga Biz Champ, and I've got somebody returning back that just keeps coming back and back and back. I can't shake this one. Welcome back, Stephanie Breaux Bradley.
Thank you. That seems to be in the theme. Was on a call with some fellow constituents and was being introduced to someone, and they described me as a jack in the box, which I don't know is positive. They were like, she comes out and she says, and then you're like, put her back in for a minute. So that's what reminded me when you said she's back.
I just so this is honestly this everybody, this is just me and Stephanie talking about industry chat here and hoping that you get something out of it. Both of us have been going to a few conferences, and what I think is interesting is just seeing the things that come up at conferences and the different vibes. And for me, what's interesting is keeping in mind that this is a yoga. You've been to the Legree conference. I went to the URSA conference, which is a massive trade show. It was in Los Angeles, and it was a fitness gym bro kind of conference. You know, I said this before on the podcast. I went to a ton of information sessions and seminars and all that stuff and panel discussions. And I just think that the yoga industry can still learn a lot from the fitness industry. And I know that you're also with the sales arm. And so you do see the yoga world and you
Mm-hmm.
see the fitness gym world.
It's a very interesting topic because I feel like there are some elements that are consistent across modalities, right? Like you speak to someone else, how you service a client, how
Yeah.
you need to figure out your avatar audience, how you need to be consistent. And so
Yeah.
when you say learn from, I think it's important when you're extracting information to see what sits with you and sticks
Yeah.
and to see what has absolutely nothing to do with you. Right. And that's with anything. You work with clients and we'll be talking about brainstorming ideas. And some of those ideas, someone's like, oh my God, I want to run with that's amazing. And other people, before you finish the idea, was like, yep, not on my brand. If you can get to that
Yep.
point to know right
Yep.
away when you come across ideas and stuff, oh my God, there's some thought to this. I could probably tweak this to work for me. Or if it's an immediate, like, it's not going to speak to me, it's not going to speak to my people, that's a good place to be as a business owner, especially with all of the things changing. Is just to know who you are, what your values are, what your market will like, what your client community will like, type of thing.
Well,
But
if
you and I talked about that. Go ahead.
Well, I think, and three things you spoke about there are the foundation of business. Know your audience, figure out what they want, and deliver what they want, they need.
And I don't want to offend, but sometimes I naturally do. And you and I started talking about this. I
Every day.
think nowadays the consumer is much more, I'm not going to say intelligent, but prepared ahead of time when they're walking into a situation, right?
Yeah.
Like before COVID, like kind of me all of the information and I felt better about it. And I would walk into a place and I would talk to someone and we would establish a relationship. Where nowadays I feel like if someone is coming to your business either through in person or online, they've got the foundation of a working knowledge of what questions they want to ask.
Completely.
And yeah.
Completely. You also know if your numbers, your prices are not transparent on the
Mm-hmm.
website, that they're probably going to have to go through some kind of sales
How do you feel about that?
process. Well, honestly, I just went through it. So I've been looking for a local gym around here. I've been going to my little community center, but it doesn't open early enough for me, and I want to get it in early. And so I've been
Mm-hmm.
shopping around myself, and so I went in defense mode.
Yeah.
To be honest, I went in there going, I know this business. You're not going to get me. That's literally what I went in there, right? And I went into this gym and it was the most half-assed anything just walking in. The I'd been getting all these really bad automated messages prior that were not relevant. Already booked their meeting and they're trying to still book me, like really bad. And then I got in there and it was like this dead zone in there. There was no music on. It just felt really blah in there. He sat down and had a chart and literally was like, "This is our menu" on a laminated piece of thing. And I sat there and yeah, this is for me. But I definitely went in knowing that the prices were not that transparent and knowing that I couldn't just purchase something online. I went in defense mode.
Which I think is interesting that you bring that up when it comes to, like, talked about Gen Z and how people like to do it. Because people, I'm referred to as the carrier pigeon because I'm older than most people, like to have a conversation before I give you my money in most instances, right? I want to ask the nuances of what it looks like. But you bring up a great point, because I sometimes go back and forth with some of my clients about how many pricing options should I put on the
Yeah,
website?
yeah,
How
yeah,
can I give them a taste of what the pricing is without giving them like a Cheesecake Factory menu?
yeah.
Because I agree with you.
Should
Like,
be a simple path.
I want to know ahead of time if you are in the
Yeah.
realm of money that I've budgeted for, but I don't necessarily need to have every option that you give me. What do you recommend clients when it comes to when they're starting out, how much to put out there when it comes to pricing?
I like pricing out there.
All of it?
I like it. Well, no, so no, I like to have a set menu. So for me, I have a magic menu that I think works for most studios. I can't generalize. Everybody's going to be a little different, but
Mm-hmm.
for most studios, I have a general kind of rule of thumb for a good pricing menu. But you and I talk about this a lot, and that is having other pricing options in your back pocket. So
Yeah.
you can really
Knowing your
speak to
numbers.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk
I
about
talk
that, knowing your numbers and then having that back pocket thing a little bit?
Yeah, I can't, get started in this consulting thing, and we know of a whole bunch of things because we've ran a studio, but then you kind of those things that you really feel like you can add value with, that you could really shine. And for me, I've always been a numbers person. And as a studio owner, I will vulnerably admit looking at my numbers all the time wasn't something that I did on the regular. Um, it's something that I think you should do on the regular because it just paints a picture. And I think the most important thing that a studio either already opened or going to open is to know that it's not a copy and paste kind of situation. There are too
Yeah.
many variables that come into play. For instance, knowing what your market can uphold obviously is very important. You don't want to be $30 less or $50 more. You
Yeah.
want to be able to play the game. Secondly, but even more importantly, you need to know what your business needs to make for you to keep your doors open. You need to know what
Yeah.
those numbers need to be as far as how many people you need to have in a class, paying what amount of money, to know how to price it so that you are breathing freely, that everything's going to get paid because you're priced correctly. Once you have what that magic number is, you keep it in your back pocket. And here is why. We alluded before about
So just to be, I just want to be really clear on that number. This
okay,
is your bottom line number. People need
bottom
to
line
know
number
it's like your bottom line number that that particular class needs to run
to be profitable.
to be profitable. Yeah.
And once you know that bottom line number, you can give yourself that space when it comes to what pricing looks like and what promotions look like, and where's that bottom line for that best Black
You can't
Friday
go below
special that
that.
you run, that
Yeah.
you can't go below. And it helps you with not like feeling or undercutting existing members when you're going to get new members and all of that kind of stuff. And the reason why I feel like that magic number is helpful is because you don't want to have a Cheesecake Factory menu on your studio website, right? Like, I'm on page 3 and I'm still in salads, you've lost me. I'm now going do something else. But if someone comes to you with your more intelligent consumers that we talked about and says, I want a 27 a month class package.
Yeah.
I'd to do unlimited because unlimited says that I'd come 30 times. I feel like I'm going to shortchange myself. This is what I want. That 27 class is not on my website, but I know what my magic number is. So I can sell you whatever you want right here. And I'm not undercutting anything. So not counting your
Yeah.
value, it is showing up the way that the consumer
Yeah.
needs the pricing to be shown up.
So
Because,
basically,
and I'm
what she's
using,
saying is you can create something custom that's not front facing to the consumers that you
mhm,
could offer as a, for example, if we're trying to get them into a unlimited and they're not going for the unlimited and we don't have much of another option, we can have a back pocket saying here's a mini membership if that's
mhm.
not customer forward.
Because the mistake I made when I owned my studio, and this was all pre COVID, was new client special to membership. That was the route I needed everybody to take. I didn't ask you what route you wanted to take. I didn't ask you how many times you were coming to what would make sense to you. That was my route that I decided. And it soon became very clear that you fight the mindset of the buyer. I had one client who literally came to class every day but wanted to buy packages, didn't want to buy anything contractual because she said she only committed to her partner and her hairdresser. And nothing that I was going to do was going to change her mind. So why am I going to fight that when
Yeah, yeah,
inevitably
yeah.
I'm getting more price per class her on that package anyway? So we always preach about having your auto renew because it helps you with the consistency of your business. And I do think there's a place for it. You can have an auto renew 10 class package or whatever. But then just realizing like you want to meet the sophisticated buyer where they are in a customizable fashion, especially if you label yourself boutique.
Yeah,
But at the same time, you don't want to compromise what the value of your business needs to
exactly. And it
have
is about
in order for you
value.
to pay your bills.
Yeah. And
Yep.
also it's perceived value too when people are looking at your schedule, right? It
Mm-hmm.
because the way I always present, so I have a Canva template that I have all of my studios use that show the schedule Monday through Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want people to be able to look at a schedule and go, I can get in Monday, Wednesday evening, Saturday morning. That is value to me if I can get
Mm-hmm.
in there. And that's easy to make a decision. So this is my most given away resource that I give to my yoga studio clients that work with me. So I'm giving this away to everybody. And it is a free Canva template that creates a visual schedule of your studio classes. And the reason for this is people don't think about their lives when they're choosing your studio. They are going to look at, can I fit that in my life? So they're going to look and go, oh, that studio I can get in at 4:30 on Monday and a half. I can get in on Thursday for a gentle flow at 7 o'clock. Oh, and a 9:30 at Hatha Flow. That's worth me trying it out, right? So I have my studios integrate these into their site. So this is West Park Yoga. I open them with 220 pre-sold members, and this is how that they're using it. This is Newburgh Yoga Shala. I open them with full classes on first day, and this is how they're using it. And so it doesn't mean you can't use your integrated one, but it just really is a great tool to help people visualize how your schedule fits in their life. This is Summer Soul. I open them in Canada. And so all you have to do is grab this free copy of my download.
And a very timely comment that you make, because as all of the listeners right now are figuring out what their summer looks like,
Yep.
I do think it's important to do what you said and look at what your summer schedule is going to be so that you can accurately have your summer specials speak to that. And what do I mean by that, especially in the valued expectation? If you have a shortened staff during the summer,
Smaller.
4th of July's yep, 4th of July is coming around. Maybe you don't even have any instructors in town for that weekend.
Yep.
It's important to have that schedule figured out because the first thing me as a consumer is going to do if I'm looking at what package I want to buy for my summer special
Yeah.
is look at the calendar and see how many times I'm going to be able to come.
Totally. Totally.
I'm aggravated if I bought the
Yeah.
package and then you reduce the schedule.
Week view schedule. But yeah, in the consumer's mind, you need them to make that decision really quickly, right? It's consumers though. I'm going to switch modes just a tiny little bit because you said the word Gen Z.
I don't think I said that, but okay.
Yeah. At the conference, there was a big discussion about Gen Z and millennials, and I was absolutely fascinated by this discussion. I'm actually going to have one lady onto the podcast and talk about this because to me it was completely. So I'm going to throw some notes to you that I made.
Okay.
It's the first ever digital only generation, right? So from birth, that's all they've known. Technology's always been there. They're searching for info on TikTok and Instagram.
I've heard YouTube also.
YouTube, biggest search engine. Yes. They have a lack of experience. They're pragmatic. They're into mental health and wellness. I love this line. They are not tech savvy. They are tech dependent.
I gotta tell you, that has become at the forefront. I'm a mother of 3 young adults, right? Throughout their teenage years, some of them were easier to manage than others. The go-to for me, if there was some situation where discipline was needed, was to want to take their digital away from them because they were so ingrained in it. Like it was like, okay, your privileges on your phone. I had one serious kind of situation where I was dealing with one of my children and I had sought out some help on like how to be a better parent. And they opened my eyes to that's all they know.
Yeah.
That's how they are connected to everything. Their friends, their teachers, their school schedule, their papers, anything. That's how they're connected. And it was so hard for me to grasp.
It's like that's what like one of hands clients now.
All the time.
And
every
single
one of my studios
because I didn't grow up with that was disturbing to me. And they're bringing this up. It's like it's all they know. It's all they know. So that if you are someone who's not Gen Z, who's a little bit older, there's that learning curve to know how to digitally reach
video that is
right?
Well, here's so they are diverse. They are generation active. I loved that. I liked that. They are willing to pay more for health and wellness. That surprised me. They can a luxury.
Really?
Strategy and marketing. I'm just reading my notes. The strategy and marketing is more diverse. Regressive and satisfying. I lost my notes. Incisive, satisfying individual growth. They are in it forever. But here's the interesting thing for the fitness world. They have more than one membership. And so they will change and flip membership, but they will come back if they like the experience.
You touched on a good point because I think the experience, we always talk about experience and value, and I think those two things are true. People will pay more for the right experience, to feel included, because here's the deal, I go by this all the time. I always want to be invited to the party. I might not come, but I always want to be invited, and that's where that consistency shows up. So to your point, if they leave because they're in yoga and they decided to go try cycling, they still have that feeling that they felt at your experience, they'll be back in a heartbeat. What does this mean for the industry? Just came out today. Like there are a lot of brands that are all going under one umbrella to have more of these like co-ideas. So when you walk in a facility, you can have ultimate yoga experience, the ultimate bar experience. Go get a Reiki session, get a massage,
or grab
and
the
then,
link from
by
this
the way,
episode show
grab a cup
notes.
of coffee type of thing.
So, well, here's the interesting thing. So, I mean, massive fans, or I'm going to say I'm not a massive fan of ClassPass, but this is where ClassPass fits that audience perfectly, right? So, that audience is wanting, have diverse experiences. ClassPass is onto something.
Well, I think you're correct. I think that ClassPass has molded in, this is from my experience and observation, that it's less of a platform for those people seeking a deal and more for a platform for those people seeking a diverse
variety
experience overall.
Yeah. So let's come back to ClassPass because I've got to tell you about Somebody must pass out right now.
You know, you're right.
Yeah. On the Gen Z, there was a couple of other things that I thought were so one membership, authentic communication. So they spent a lot of time, and I heard this in multiple different rooms, and it was really your words can't be meaningless anymore. They can't be just words of we do this on our website. You actually have to back those things up with actions now. So this audience cares about what you do, what you support, and so
How you show up.
how you show up. So authenticity, we can't just present a glossy front anymore, I think, for this audience, like king or queen.
I don't know if I used this example when we've talked before, but it still sticks in my head when you talk about authenticity. I remember coming across someone who, I think it was a Bikram yoga studio. It was a very hot yoga studio. And she was constantly asked because she didn't offer, her intro was a 3-class pack. She didn't offer a free class at the beginning, which we can go on a tangent about how we feel about a free class. Um, and she kept getting questions asked, why don't you offer a free class? Everybody else in town offers a free class, la, la, la. And she decided to address it in a very authentic way. She sat in her studio room with her phone, so you could see that she was just bottom line sitting on the floor talking. And she said, I'm often asked why I don't offer a free class, and here's why. Your first class will suck. You will be basically trying to manage how to breathe through a heated room, and she gave like the degree of temperature that it is. So if that was your only experience, I would never have anybody coming back because the first class sucked.
Totally.
Your second class sucks a little less because you know now what to expect as far as the heat, but now you want to kind of maybe paying attention and being able to stay in the room for that full time and knowing what the words are. It isn't until your third class that you feel successful and realize that this is a practice that will benefit you or not.
100%.
And it was so raw and it was so authentic that it was like, I respect that. I get that. I will follow you now.
Yeah.
It was shady or overselling or like I'm just for money. It's like,
This is what you're going to go
I'm
through.
doing it. Yeah. This is what you're going to go through. And through my experience, you know, as the expert in this arena, I'm going to tell you what you need to do to be successful in this arena.
And it's not only just about, it's also about the teacher. You may not, I have been, how many classes have you been to where you've been screaming in your head, get me the F out of here? Like this, I like, get me out of here. Like,
I'm like, can you just give me the microphone? Let me take over. Sorry. Just give it to me.
But, you know, so if you were a drop-in, you're judging that teacher. But if you were a drop-in, you're judging the entire studio on that one experience. And folks, that's why we want people testing out the entire menu in that intro offer period, right? To get a good sense of the vibe and the feel. Pass. So my unnamed partner decided to try out ClassPass. Now, here's the interesting thing that he went with one of his friends to a class. So he has got ClassPass on his insurance plan at a cheaper price. ClassPass, interestingly, gamifies the classes. This is interesting knowledge because when he goes with his friend and they book the same class, he's got a cheaper membership with the same points. She's got a little bit more expensive with membership with the same points. But his class points, each when they go to the same class, she's charged 7 points, he's charged 9 points. So
is that why they always say algorithm? Because it's too hard to communicate all that stuff?
Exactly. The other interesting thing post the intro offer period now, during the intro offer, all the classes were discounted. Right. Really, I didn't know that, but all the classes look like a great deal. But then actually now it's like he's like, oh, for those amount of points, I can get 2 classes in a month. But the experience thing has been the most fascinating for me because of going to all these different studios and me hearing the different experiences. So I have heard from one of them was so looking at, looking at parking, looking at a website and going, there's no information on parking here. We're in LA. How can they not put parking? So I'm sitting there and I'm going, there's a problem with parking. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, there's a problem with parking. If they are not telling you where to park easily, like there are hiding. Sure enough, goes there. It was a nightmare. It was like really, really bad. There was 3 parking spots for the whole business.
Now, why wouldn't that, as a studio owner, be the first thing? Like, let me hear your objection.
Exactly. Right now. So let's just, I wanted to talk about this because like that's transparency. In that situation, for me, I would be there are 3 spots behind the building and a map of the other street parking is over here. 2 blocks over here, you'll find a parking lot, like literally just the problem up
Mhm.
front, right? So
Like literally, it could be in like you could that same information is in the receipt that goes to them like after they book.
totally,
Could
totally.
be in your AI generated of your 5 most asked questions when you go on the website to kind of
Your
let them
welcome
know.
email. Your
Yeah,
welcome email.
like
Yeah.
any way you have
Yeah.
it, because
But
yes, that
don't
would
hide the problem. Don't
if I'm
hide the
starting
problem.
my experience
Yeah.
by already late to the class because I
It was
can't find a
already a
parking
no,
spot
it
or
was
whatever.
already a done
Yeah.
deal. Like that was written off right away. Right. Um, Another one, welcoming experience, like really like notch. Met at the door, met at the like everything as it was supposed to be. But as a male, he felt it very female
Mhm.
focused. And so the experience on the website was
Didn't feel the same.
didn't convey that. And so going into this experience, everything was done perfectly, but it was very female focused. They female type things and facial things as well as so there was not a lot of male focus there. So that was just interesting that the what was on the website and then the experience felt different.
Can we talk about this feedback for
Yeah,
a
I
second?
know, please. That's why we're here.
So this could be like a shameless plug, but I also work, as you know, and what the sales arm does is they do the meticulousness of lead management when it comes to the minute someone shows interest, what it is to create that relationship, and they are working on behalf as an extension of the studio they're working with. A lot of studios come to us at the sales arm, and you'll be familiar because they feel like they have a sales issue, right? Like everything else is great. Our instructors are amazing. Our brand is amazing. Our class is amazing. We just need to nurture the leads so that they become members. And while that all sounds well and good, and we have a tremendous amount of success with helping people when it comes to booking and increase their membership, another huge thing, beneficial thing is we follow the lead. And if they are not going to come back to your studio, we want to know why. And I'm going to use an example and not give the name. We are able to sell amazing memberships for them. And they are having just as much churn of members walking out because of the experience that happens once they walk in the door,
Yeah.
which as a studio owner, sometimes it's hard to kind of get yourself out of those 4 walls to see it from a different vantage point. But it's like the best salespeople in the world can't help if someone walks through your front door and the person at the front desk doesn't even bother to look up and say hello.
Yep.
Or if the teacher is so busy only talking to their 3 good friends that they see that comes to their class all the time that they completely alienate or don't even make contact with the 4 new people that came in for the first time.
Yep. Every single one of my clients now in my packages, I now built into because it's so important sales training
Yeah.
for the whole team, and we go through the pre-class experience, the in-class experience, and the post-class experience. And
And it's all information. Someone could put something in, like you said, came in, it was a very female dominated studio space. And the owner could receive that feedback and go, well, yes, we are female dominated. Then you don't need to change anything about what you
completely,
do,
completely.
just maybe how you put it out there. Like,
Well,
not
that's
all feedback is like, oh my God, you got to fix this.
yeah,
It could be, this isn't your person or this isn't your client.
yep.
But in my head, all the
I mean,
clients
there's
I,
with having a female focused business, right? It's just,
not at all.
but put that out there, like just put
Right.
vibe out there. That's your
Because the
anyway.
bottom line is everybody that comes through your front door, you want to
Yep.
be able to speak to an amazing experience, whether it was my place to fall or not. Like,
Yep.
love the people, it's just not me. I'm not a yoga person. I probably should be. I could use the calming
Yep.
kind of thing. But if I go
And
to yoga, I want to make sure I have a great experience. And then I'm
yeah,
going to refer you.
the experience was for a bike class, and on the bike was
In the
a sign
States, we say cycle.
cycle.
I was like, what the heck is he
Cycle
talking about?
class.
Bikes.
But there was a sign on the bike that says welcome.
Yeah.
Simple. Teacher identified that there's a new person in the class. I mean, people that they might be like, oh, I just want to hide in the back of the
That's what
room.
I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that's you take all that with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
You could have
yeah,
some people like, oh my God, they know my
yeah,
name. And you could have some people like, I don't want to meet anybody. I just want to
yeah.
come cycle. I talk to people all day.
And
And it's
I
just
think,
further siphoning out who your client is and who it's not.
yeah, and I think his purpose was he wanted a home. He wanted
Mm-hmm.
a fitness home. And so this was not going to sound ClassPass. He's not the ideal audience for that, but it's been a great experience for him to test out the different
To date.
to yeah. And he's I think found a home that has good
What are the non-negotiables? Yep.
has good parking, felt non-intimidating, but noticed and acknowledged. And more importantly, felt felt like could do more than he could do on his own. Like felt
Mm-hmm.
really supported,
Motivated.
really supported and motivated. So it's been for me, it's been a fascinating experience hearing all the stories because it's like that just goes, oh yeah, parking problem, yeah.
I actually, as it's hard to kind of like, so I went to take a class because I wanted to be a student, right? Like I wanted to get out and I wanted to be a student. And I'm finishing the class, loved the class. And the person at the front desk did what they were instructed to do and was asking me if I wanted to book another class. And I was like, you know what? I don't know my schedule. I'll call. And I wasn't trying to like give an objection. I was being honest. Like I didn't know my schedule.
Hmm.
And she goes, oh, well, you could just buy a 10 pack because it takes a year to expire. And I should have just said thank you and walked out the door. But I couldn't. And
Yeah.
I was like, the car really can't legally expire. And here's this young girl. And she's like, what is she talking about? And I was giving just like business knowledge. I had a client who started with me who learned the hard way when somebody pushed back on an expiration in a studio in California. And I should have just said, oh, thank you, and moved out. But no, I was just like, that's correct information. She was like, girl, I just want to sell you a 10 pack. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah. What do you
I
see?
want
No, go.
I just want to finish
Yeah.
off the conversation that we're saying that if you are in a situation where you are getting feedback, not all feedback is geared for you to make changes if it's not
A
aligned
100%.
with you.
A
It's
hundred
just kind
percent.
of eye-opening experience of there's always things to make better, to tweak.
Well, so
Yes.
that I just had a great conversation with Sarah, and we just
Mm-hmm.
had a great conversation about that because I searched before and I looked through the reviews and they were 5-star. I mean, glowing review. The only reviews that were bad were things like music too loud,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't relaxing. There were all things that had to do with their vibe, which is
Mm-hmm.
they're all about the music. They're all about that experience, and so that was just that client is not aligned with that business. That's
Right.
not what they're looking for. But that doesn't mean they're a bad business.
Right.
All the star people they are their ideal
Mm-hmm.
audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay, you
their
were going
motivation.
taking us somewhere else.
Oh, where was I going? ADHD. Where was I going with that? What are you seeing right now? Like you're out there talking to a lot of people right now. What are you seeing successes?
Ooh. Um, it's in that you bring this up because I am dealing with a lot of burnout owners right now.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. I mean, I'm clients that need help.
I feel like this is always the time of year that it's kind of amplified. Noticed on social media they call it was it May Ember? Like May is crazy as the holidays are
Yeah.
for Christmas. And so if you woke up and all of a sudden all of your moms with school children are no longer in your studio is because they're bogged down with all of this end of the
Mm,
year stuff. And I feel like one of two things. I do think that, summer's challenges, depending on where your market is. Like I'm in Louisiana. So the summer doesn't slow down here because people don't work out outside because we live on the sun, right? So my slow time is always Mardi Gras when people are out drinking, not the summer when it's hot.
yeah.
That to be said, like when you know your numbers and you see what those seasons are, perhaps that could help take out that there are months of the year that are always going to be a little slower. So you either budget accordingly for
Yep.
those slower months,
Yep.
maybe look into having more personal training or any kind of training sessions if you are a yoga studio so that you can have some new coming in when you've reduced your schedule, less people are coming, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like we just need to get in a place with all this mental health awareness and really like looking into you deserve some downtime and a break also. Maybe
Totally.
it's the universe telling you,
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
some time for you to decompress. Maybe look at those sales emails that you haven't looked at in 2 years. Do some
Well,
tweaking. Prepare.
I actually say, take a week off.
Yeah.
1 week off to work. Well, vacations aside, 1 week off to really work on your business where you're not distracted. I do that probably twice a year. You know, I do that
Yeah.
twice a year. I definitely want to encourage people to, take to work on the business where you can get through those chores.
And I think sometimes taking a step back and allowing things to kind of settle, you look at things a little differently. Like I think, for me, I'm a firstborn, I'm a Leo, I'm an Enneagram 8. I'm going to do like this until I get what I want. And now that I am getting older in age, I realize that sometimes, whether it's Jesus for you or the universe, is like, this is not the way you're supposed to be going. So I'm going to stand here and you're going to keep hitting your head against the wall
Yeah.
until you stop and realize you're supposed to be looking this way.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Your energy. So my coach really got looking at my work week and my work day as far as my energy is a little bit more. I have this structure. I mean, I do structure to my life, but I'm looking at things differently right now. It's like when I do things. So for example, in the morning, I'm great at getting tasks done. Before, if I get something like that, I first thing in the morning. But the afternoon, I'm shit at that stuff. But the afternoon, I'm a little bit more inclined to maybe work on my iPad, work on, on the
The
sofa, feet
graphics.
up, and do the creative side of, I'm more creative in that environment instead of trying to force that into my, 1 to 4
Yeah.
people. Yeah, yeah. And really looking at your energy of the day and kind of slot into that a little bit helps for me.
I do think also, as we wrap this up, that having a support group, whether it is a consultant that you work with, a group of other owners that can help,
Yeah.
like we talked about, pull you out of just those four walls
Yeah.
and look at the big picture can help also.
Yeah. A coach for
When you
that,
sign up,
folks.
when you sign up for entrepreneurship, that's what this is.
Yeah.
Funnily, I have my oldest child is graduating from college on Monday. And he calls me and he says, I don't feel like I've done enough.
Oh,
And I said,
wow.
welcome to being a firstborn. I'm like, you graduated of your class and you are at this amazing establishment of a college. He's graduating from Wake Forest and the accolades and the things that he have accomplished there. But I was just like, some of us are built differently where we can celebrate our successes for maybe 5 minutes. And then we're like, okay,
Yeah.
because we don't stuck. And so it's interesting just to see that reflected in him because I beat myself up about it. And like he's struggling right now. He had 4 days between finishing exams and graduation. He doesn't know what to do with himself. And I'm like, watch TV, relax, you deserved it. Yet that's something I can't do. So that
Well,
firstborn entrepreneurship, you gotta
yeah, I
like,
don't know. You have your bubble bath and your Bravo TV at the same time.
yeah, but that's at night. That's at night. That's for my mental health. That is for my mental health.
Stephanie, this is actually nice. We haven't spent much time with each other for a little while, so it's nice to catch up and have a
It is.
chat. And yeah, thanks. It's been great.
Yep.
Hopefully they got some good little tips from us chit-chatting.
If not, they'll have to stay tuned to next time, and hopefully we have something of value to say the next time we talk.
Well, you are coming back, aren't you?
Yes, next week, me and Chris and I.
Yep, from the sales zone. Coming back, reoccurring.
Coming back.
I can't get rid of you.
We'll be in.
Sorry. Thank you,
We'll be in.
Stephanie.
Thank you, Michael.
Adore you. Where can they find you?
Steph Breaux Bradley. You can find me on LinkedIn under that. You can find my website, Breaux Bradley Consulting. So yeah, or those arms. You can find me there too. Instagram, Steph Breaux Bradley.
She's around.
I'm around.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Yoga Biz Champ podcast. Thank you again for tuning in and sharing this time with me. And remember, your journey to opening or growing your yoga studio is unique, and I'm here to walk the path with you. If today's episode sparked a new idea, a question, or even if you're ready to take your yoga studio dreams to the next level, let's connect. Visit yogabizchamp.link/podlink. to book your free strategy call with me. It's time to turn those yoga dreams into a thriving reality. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you're never going to miss an episode. And also follow me on social media at Yoga Biz Champ to stay updated on all things Yoga Biz. And also, a shout out now that all of these episodes are going out on video on YouTube. So go check out Yoga Biz Champ also on our now expanding YouTube channel. And again, if you want to book a appointment with me, a free chat with me, head over to your podcast episode and you will see a link at the top of every episode that says send me a text message. Send me your email address and I will send you my booking link. Until next time, namaste.